All right, let's get right into it. We talk all the time about building these amazing machine learning models, right? But how do we actually get a model out of the lab and into the real world where it can do some good? That's the journey we're going to break down today.
So, you've done it. You've put in the hours, you've crunched the data, and you've built this incredible model. It's a genius. It's making these brilliant predictions. But, and this is a big but, it only works on your computer. It's trapped inside its cozy little development environment, like a Jupyter notebook.
So the real question is, how do we bust this genius out of its box? This is way more than just zipping up some code and emailing it. It's about making it a living, breathing tool that anyone, anywhere can actually use. So let's map out the escape plan.
First things first, we have to really understand the problem we're up against. I like to call it the trapped model problem, and believe me, it's a huge reason why so many machine learning projects never see the light of day.
Just think about it for a second. Your amazing model, it only exists in this temporary state, basically living in your computer's memory. So what happens if you shut down your notebook or restart your machine? Poof, it's gone, vanished. To get it back, you have to run everything all over again, all the training, all the processing. That is just a massive waste of time and energy. We need a way to save our progress.
And that leads us perfectly into our first major step. We need to create a permanent, portable blueprint of our model. And the technical term for this process, it's called serialization.
So, serialization? What is it really? Well, it's the magic trick of taking our trained model, which is a super complex object in your computer's memory, and translating it into a format that we can actually save. Like a file. A file that you can store, you can send to someone, and then later on you can reconstruct it perfectly without losing any of that hard-earned intelligence.
Okay, to make this crystal clear, let's use an analogy. Imagine you're a chef, and you spent weeks getting a new signature dish absolutely perfect. Serialization is like writing down that final, perfected recipe. You're capturing every single ingredient, every little step, every secret technique, so that it can be recreated perfectly, time and time again.
And this is where it all starts. Our development environment is our test kitchen. This is our playground, our lab. It's where we experiment and tweak and train our model until it's absolutely perfect. Now, just like a chef can write a recipe in English or French, serialization has different formats. For example, there's Pickle. It's kind of the standard for most Python objects, so it's perfect for saving a lot of scikit-learn models. Then you've got JobLib, which is much better when you're dealing with huge arrays of numbers, like the data inside some models. And then there's the really cool one, ONNX. Think of ONNX as a universal translator. It lets you take a model you built in, say PyTorch, and run it in a totally different system like TensorFlow. You just pick the right language for your recipe. And here it is, the payoff. Once we have our recipe, our serialized model file, we can finally take it out of our private test kitchen and bring it to its new home, the production environment. But this new home, well, it's a completely different world. And to make sure our model survives the move, we have to understand the huge differences between a development environment and a production environment.
So here's the key difference. The development environment, that's your test kitchen. It's messy, it's for one person, you, and the only goal is experimentation, just trying to create the best model possible. But production, that's the live restaurant. It has to serve hundreds, maybe thousands of users all at once. The focus shifts entirely. Now it's all about stability, speed, and being able to handle a ton of traffic. It has to just work reliably all the time.
Okay, so our model has its recipe, and it's moved into the new restaurant. But wait, there's another disaster waiting to happen if we're not careful. The model needs its survival kit. It needs its dependencies.
Just imagine this. You load up your perfectly serialized model on the new production server. You give it some data to predict and bam, it crashes. It just fails. Why? How could a model that worked perfectly a minute ago suddenly break? So what's actually going on here? Well, you load the model, but then it hits a snag. Maybe your model needs a specific function from, let's say, version 1.2 of the Pandas library to process the data. But the production server has version 2.0 installed. That tiny difference can cause the whole pre-processing pipeline to fail. The model never gets the data in the format it was trained on, so it just crashes.
These specific libraries and their versions are the model's dependencies, and the solution is a beautifully simple file, usually called requirements.txt. Think of this file as the model's ultimate ingredient list. It tells the new environment every single software package it needs, down to the exact version. This file is then used to automatically install everything, creating a perfect, isolated replica of the environment where the model can thrive.
Okay, so we've serialized our model, we've packed its survival kit of dependencies, we've done the hard work. So what does this all look like when it comes together? What does a user actually see at the end of the day? Well, the whole point of this entire journey is to turn our model, which is really just a bunch of code and math, into something real, something tangible, a live application that people can actually use to solve a problem.
And here's a fantastic example. It's a customer churn predictor hosted on a platform called Hugging Face Spaces. Under the hood, this thing is powered by a really solid XGBoost model. And the user interface, the part you actually click on, was built with a tool called Streamlit, which is great for this kind of thing. So a user just types in some customer data, hits a button, and boom, they get an instant prediction. That right there is model deployment in action.
And that's really the magic, isn't it? We've successfully taken something that existed only on a data scientist laptop and transformed it into a valuable, accessible tool that can actually help a business make better decisions.
So, let's just do a super quick recap of the journey. Serialization, that's what saves your model's recipe. Dependencies, managed with a requirements file, that's the survival kit it needs for its new home. The production environment, that's the live restaurant where your model actually starts working for you. And this whole process, from beginning to end, is what we call model deployment.
And that really brings us to the end. The path from the lab to a live application is clear, so the only question left for you is, now that you know how to do it, what real-world problem are you going to solve first?